Welcome to another exciting episode of Unleashing Your Potential with myself, Coach Toriso. The show is all about unlocking your potential and enhancing your way of living. Today, guys, we are talking about leadership. Are leaders born or made? And for that, I've got two leaders in the studio. Don't go anywhere. My leaders, welcome here. Please just introduce yourself. Kozi, please just introduce yourself to the viewers out there.
Right, so firstly, thank you for having us. My name is Ziyanda Mazamisa. I go by the name of Ziyanda M in my profession. And I'm a leadership coach. I am originally from the Eastern Cape, Xhosa.
Xhosa chick.
Xhosa.
Oh yeah, representing. She's yeah.
And I'm a leadership coach, but I don't like to confine myself. So I'm a leadership coach. I'm a behavioral coach. I'm a mindset coach.
Okay.
If it has to do with how you think, feel, and do, I'm your
That's
coach.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So I am 43 years old. I love my age. I'm
oh, now
comfortable.
it's rare to find a
Very
woman
comfortable
to
with
say
my
her age
age.
like that. Yeah?
So I'm 43 years old and I am based in Pretoria, Centurion.
Okay, great. Lovely.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, lovely. Thank you so much for that
Nice to
introduction.
meet
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I'm Henry. I'm Henry Mwale.
Yeah.
I'm an African of Zambian descent.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I am a pastor
Yeah.
of a church called Connect Ministries.
Yeah.
I am a businessman.
Yeah.
I run a multimedia company.
Yeah.
Yeah, called Top Media.
Okay.
Yes, I'm an author too.
Okay.
I've written a few books.
Okay.
5 actually, to be precise.
Nice.
I still have a lot that are still coming up.
Okay.
And yeah, that's just about
Okay.
it.
All right. I like that. Well, of course, guys, I've got leaders in here. You can just hear the introduction. It's just like precise, right? It's just onto the T. So, guys, you as being leadership coach, let me say that from the coach. You as a leadership coach, how did you get to become a coach in leadership?
Yeah, so let me start it this way. When I was still employed, full-time employed, I was an HR practitioner.
All right.
And as an HR practitioner, you see a lot of things that we do as leaders and subordinates that actually sabotages us, doesn't make us feel good, doesn't make us give each other joy at work,
Okay.
though we spend a lot of time at work. So it comes from that, from observing the pain that we give one another, for lack of a better word. So that's where I started to think, what else could I do differently? But by academy, I'm an industrial psychology student,
Okay.
and so I borrow a lot from psychology for leadership because it works well together. So that's where it started out.
Okay.
But when I resigned, I didn't know what I was going to do. That was because I didn't know my purpose at the time. All I
Okay.
knew was I was done with corporate. I was done with toxicity. I was done with politicking. I needed something different that was
Tired
going
of
to add
being
value.
tired.
I was exhausted with
Yeah.
it, yeah?
Yeah.
So I found my purpose, which is coaching and facilitation of leadership interventions via my 12 months of trying to figure myself out, which was through coaching. So I was coached.
Okay.
And when I found myself, I found my purpose,
That's
which
nice.
led me to where I'm at now.
That's how coaches work. Like you have to find you first in order for you to actually help others out there.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Mwale, Henry Mwale, have you always been passionate about leadership in an African context? in
I
a
just
way?
think that you cannot be African and not be passionate about what's going on this continent.
Okay.
There's just a lot that we've come to a point where a lot leaves very little to be desired.
Okay.
And if you are from here, by here I mean from this continent, something must bother you about what's going on around us. Something must definitely bother you. There must be a nudging in your gut about what's going on. So for me, I have a love for travel. I travel quite a bit. And as a result, I have been to different countries, I've been to different cultures. And especially on the continent of Africa, what you see, it's like seen one, seen them all. You know, the mentalities, not only of the people on the ground, but the leaders themselves are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not even getting any better, you know. So that in itself just gave me a jolt to be able to start doing something about it.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've been really talking about for many years. But then I needed to create a platform where I could be able to speak from. Once I was in DC, Washington,
Yeah.
and I was having a group of people. I was talking to their African people in the diaspora in that place.
Yeah.
And we were talking about African politics, African leadership, and these are brilliant minds, brilliant African minds.
Sure.
You know, and as we got to have that conversation, it's like we're able to diagnose ourselves very well. We know exactly what's wrong with this continent.
What is the problem? Yeah.
But it seems like we are not willing and ready to do something about it. After the whole conversation, I asked these gentlemen a question. What are you going to do about it? And
Very key
it
question.
went quiet. No one was willing to say anything that they were going to do about it.
Sure.
And I walked away saying, I am the antidote.
Okay.
And I'm going to provide a solution from my own, as a person,
I like
as an
that.
individual. I want to do something about this continent. And I'm not going to wait to join politics or to join the people that are making a lot of noise out there. I'm going to do something in my own space.
In your own space.
Yes.
Sure, I love that. I
Yeah.
just love that.
Yeah.
Now, we are talking about leadership or leaders. And just from your own perspective or your own understanding, what is a leader?
You know, for me, people like to say, from my perspective, leadership is a behavior, is a doing.
Ah.
People like to say it's a role. Maybe manager is a role.
Okay.
But when you're a leader, you've got to be able to create an environment that inspires others to perform at their best,
Okay.
or to do their best thinking. Now, that is beyond management, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So for me, leadership is a behavior, and to inspire others to perform has got to come from how you show up.
Absolutely.
But then how you show up is also determined by, do you know who you are?
It goes
you know
right
your
back there
triggers?
again, sure.
Can you regulate them?
Yeah.
So it speaks to the how that Henry's speaking about, to say we all are able to diagnose poverty, corruption, all of the stuff that
We know these
that we've
problems.
co-created together or collectively. But now how to come out of that actually as tougher for people
Yeah.
than what meets the eye. So for me, leadership is a behavior.
It's a behavior.
It's a doing.
In the doing, the how part there. I like that. Mwale?
Wow. I like that too. I feel like I'm just part of the audience listening to you saying that. Leadership is inspiring. It's inspiring courage. It's inspiring and galvanizing people towards a particular objective or goal. And I think the biggest challenge that we have currently is a result of just that. We don't really have the kind of leadership that we need to have that is visionary. We have people occupying positions. We don't really have leaders. And I hope I'm not going way ahead. I'm supposed to be introducing.
No.
What-
Please, unpack it. Unpack
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
That's how leaders roll anyway. They just
That's
take
how we
over.
roll. Okay. Thank you so much. But I think, like Azia said, leadership is really about inspiring. Inspiring people to become the better versions of themselves, inspiring people to attain goals that they have set for themselves, or institutions, or even countries at the end of the day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think people might mistake, from my perspective, they might mistake inspire and motivation.
Okay.
So for me, motivation has got to come from within. That one you can't outsource from somebody else to give it to you, but inspiration you might get from me.
From
From somebody
others.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Motivation
how I
inspires.
differentiate between the two. And the reason why I say so I come from a Bantu education system, right, from South African context.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I passed matric without understanding how to speak English. I did not know how to speak English.
You're
put
kidding
bluntly.
me.
But
I had to
Okay.
self-teach. I failed because of it.
Okay.
And when I failed at Rhodes University and I was excluded, I thought it was my intelligence that was in trouble. It was language that was in trouble. It was not necessarily my intelligence.
Okay.
But then motivation to finish the degree, to go back and finish it, came from within me. I didn't come from a context where I was being pampered and looked after and motivated by somebody else. It had to come from within
It
me.
came from within you.
Yes, and the inspiration came from others who were like
Outside.
me, who were around me
Okay.
at the time.
Or wanted to be like, you know.
Absolutely. So there's a big difference between the two, because people like to say, my manager must motivate me. No, it's your duty to motivate yourself.
I love that. You guys are just...
I love that. I love that too. I love that too.
Yeah.
I think that generally
Yeah.
we have a leadership crisis.
Yes.
Because we've got very few people who are motivated, self-motivated.
Self-motivated.
Because it comes structurally down to that, you as a person.
Yeah.
You know.
I
so
hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now, based on the experience and the exposure of where you are now, would you say that leaders are born or leaders are made?
Nature versus nurture. So for me, it's both.
It's both. Okay.
For me, it's both. Remember, I said leadership is a behavior.
Yeah, yeah.
So there is an expectation from a leadership coaching perspective. There is, in my sessions, an expectation for you to understand that to lead others, you gotta lead yourself first.
Okay.
So leadership, self-leadership is at the core of everybody.
Sure.
So even if you're not leading a team,
Yeah.
you have got to regulate your own behavior,
Okay.
your own thoughts and and emotions, right? So from that perspective, you've got to be in leadership of
Yourself,
her or
sure.
him.
Yeah.
Before you can claim to have the ability
Of
to
others.
oversee other people's dynamics, which are
Yeah.
human dynamics, which is behavior, their emotions and their thoughts.
Yeah.
You got to manage yours first. So leadership for me is at the core of all of us.
Okay.
As
So
long
it's
as you're an
both
adult.
born and made.
Yeah.
For me, it's both.
For me too. Now, I think that's the problem. That's the
okay,
problem
but I
when
want you to
when you have to
elaborate.
speak second. You're literally sounding like you're repeating the.
Yes.
But look, you are both born and made. You are born because there's a reason why you came. There's a beautiful statement that says the two most important days in your life are the day that you were born and the day you found out why you were born.
Yeah.
So when you lead, you must lead yourself first. And she has talked about leading certain abilities about yourself, leading your emotions, leading everything about yourself. But you should also lead yourself from where you are into the destiny that is about your life, where you are supposed to, into what you are supposed to become. In fact, leading yourself from what you are into what you were intended to become.
You were intended
So
to be.
yes,
Yeah.
and so we are both born leaders,
Yeah.
because whether you have a title or not, you have got a responsibility to yourself to lead yourself.
But can you teach me to be a leader? Can I be taught to be a leader? Or it is something that I can just say, like, okay, I understand, I'm born with it.
Yeah.
But where does the element of me knowing that now I can now lead, or I can claim myself as a leader? Is it based on, I need to be taught that
Yeah.
this is, you know, I don't know if you get, I'm
Yeah.
getting,
There's an element of being taught, so I agree with Henry. So for me, I have this thing that when I was born, and when babies are born, they're clenching their fists.
Yeah.
And for me, it's as if the universe said, take it, run with it, and I caught it,
Sure.
right?
I
And
like
so
that.
I arrive with my fists closed because it is between me and God or the universe
Yeah.
that we've agreed on.
Sure.
So it has my fingerprints on it, it's mine. It's
Yeah.
been intertwined in my fiber, it's mine.
Yeah.
It's already created.
Yeah.
But so mine is speaking. So people will like, we all speak. I said it's different. There's something that is attached to my energy or spiritual being and speaking that is a pair.
okay.
And therefore I had to learn to speak about what. So 7 years ago it was about, I had noticed that women were struggling as leaders, women were mimicking men in their behavior, or women were backbiting one another and giving each other a hard time. Or they were so brilliant but they couldn't speak up when
Yeah.
they were in boardrooms, you know, and having to converse and brainstorm and so on. So it was geared at speaking to women about unlocking themselves. But the speaking at the core of it is speaking.
Yeah.
But not everybody finds speaking easy or comfortable or enjoyable. I can speak until I shut my eyes to sleep. I don't get tired of it. That's how I know it's one of the things that I was given. We call it native genius. That's what I've been given. It comes effortlessly. I
Yeah.
didn't go to school for it. However, I had to go to school to be an agile practitioner,
Okay.
to pair it up with
Okay,
speaking.
that the
I had to go
okay.
to school to be on an industrial organizational psychology side of things, to pair it up with speaking, right?
Yeah.
I had to be a certified coach to pair it up with speaking.
Okay.
That's a teaching side of it.
Yeah.
But the native genius is already there, and people are thinking it's not there.
Yeah, it's already within you. We
already
just have
there.
to acquire all these other skills
And it's
just to
very simple.
enhance what is already there
It
within
comes
you.
it comes very easy. There's an accountant, a CA client of mine. He says he has an ear for music. He cannot sing, but he hears everything,
Yeah.
every note. His ear is just that way wired.
Sure.
He's never gone to school for it. Then he told his mother when he was younger. His mother was like, "No, there's no money in music. Go do your BCom and become a CA," which he enjoys, but he still wants to be. Something, in terms of music industry.
Yeah.
So you see, it is already there. He caught it. It's already there.
Unlocking your potential. Guys, these leaders here are here to just unleash something within us that it's already within us. It's not out
Absolutely.
there, but it's actually within us. On that note, guys, we are coming right up. Viewers, welcome back here. This is very nice. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this conversation with my leaders. Earlier on, you mentioned about crisis in leadership.
Yeah.
What do we mean by that? What crises are there in leadership?
It's a pandemic.
Yeah.
It's a pandemic. Really, I'm serious about that. It's a serious, and when I talk about that, I'm talking about it mostly from an African
Sure.
perspective.
Yeah.
Africa is suffering from, actually, Africa must really begin to think and realize that the biggest challenge we have on this continent is a leadership pandemic that has led us to socio-economic, political, and political pandemonium as a continent. We lack visionary leadership. We don't lack people that are skilled. We don't lack people that are talented. We don't like that. We don't like people that are gifted. We have, they excel. They go overseas and they excel.
Sure.
The world out there is waiting for them.
Sure.
They absorb them. Some of them, they change citizenship. They even change their names. Because the world is clamoring for the gift that Africa has to offer.
Yeah.
But the problem we have is that we've got individuals in these positions of influence and power that are actually creating a problem for the rest of us. Now, first of all, the reason for that, I believe, is that the individuals that are leading us, maybe especially from a political point of view, is because most of them don't even have a vision for themselves as individuals first. If we were to ask all of these guys what they were doing before they became politicians, many of them were doing nothing. What was their plan for their own life and for their families? They had nothing, no vision whatsoever. A person who can't lead himself will not lead others. It's as simple as that.
It's that, yeah.
That's why we've got a lot of thugs in these positions that actually have taken over and leading this continent nowhere.
Yeah.
Of course, there are a number of other factors, but I'm just trying to emphasize the fact that when a person can't lead themselves and they don't have a direction for their own life, they will mismanage, they will abuse office because they have nothing else to do.
Yeah, sure.
So it is about having fame, having as many girlfriends as you can have, because you have nothing else to do. When you've got, it's a tragedy. I've written in one of my books that it's a tragedy when your money is growing and you are not. You must grow.
Yeah.
You must be bigger than the money itself.
Okay.
You must be bigger than that energy you command. I just heard earlier on that money is an energy. It's a currency. That's why it flows.
Yeah.
Either it's flowing away from you or it's flowing to you.
That,
you know. So I really think that the biggest challenge that we have is that we are being led by people who are not supposed to be leading. And that's why they close doors on people who have got innovative ideas, people who have got vision. There are many actual leaders on the bottom who are not in positions of influence because the thugs have taken over.
Sure.
And I'm using that word deliberately. Actually, some of these guys must be brought to a place where they realize that they're just thugs and they are not helping anyone. So they've taken over and they're closing doors for everybody else who would want to come in. So you come with your idea, they can see clearly this person will do something amazing. So that becomes a threat for them. And they close doors for it. Yes.
Or they even steal whatever that
they steal it, but they don't go far with it because it's not there. It's not in their.
It's not in their vision. It's not their vision.
It's not who they are. It doesn't have their blueprint on them. On it.
I like that. I like that. Zenda?
Wow, that's thought-provoking. So, I agree with Tags. And I suppose if somebody wants to think deeper about when he says thugs, watch State Capture. I watch it every day.
Yes.
And then you're going to probably unpack the term thug and you're probably going to find a place for it there. And people always like to say, so from a coaching perspective, I spend a lot of time working on the inner so that you can establish your own sense of values.
Absolutely.
What drives your behavior? What would you like to drive? Not what your father, mother taught you, not necessarily that. You now in your 40s, 50s, 60s. What drives it? For what reason? For what vision? So that directs your steps. And people like to think that when you say self-awareness, I know who I am. And what they mean really is, I know my name. They'll tell you I'm Zianda.
Sure.
I know my role. I'm a manager. I'm a wife.
The status
I'm a
and the
mother.
titles.
Those are the roles. Who is the human being inside this body?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's why you need to talk about who am I when I'm happy? Who am I when I'm stressed? Who am I when things don't go my way?
Yeah.
So it's so true that because we don't know who we are,
Yeah.
we lack self-leadership, we are falling apart when it comes to leading others. What we will see from a South African context and public sector state capture situation is that people have been bullying others into decisions that were not supposed to have been taken to start with. That's the lack of vision, because there's bigger things than yourself in any system. And there are qualified, powerful people who are at the lower levels of these organizations.
Yeah.
They too contributed to the outcome when they kept quiet,
Yeah.
when they lacked courage, they wanted comfort, when they wanted to support the salary at the end of getting the salary and not standing in the gap for South Africa.
Yeah.
They also contributed to the outcome that
Yeah,
we have.
sure. Yeah.
So we've got experts that lack courage, they want comfort, they want to be liked. So we step onto these things through coaching to say what it is about you that makes you be a people pleaser at the detriment of something bigger than even yourself.
My goodness.
So you've got to look within and clean the junk. You know, take the junk out of the boot,
Sure.
so that we can actually establish new
Yeah.
value systems, new ways of behaving, because how you show up translates and actually impacts other people. Energy is transferable.
Yeah.
You know those bosses, when they walk in, we know today we're in trouble. Today
Yeah.
things are going to fall
Their
apart.
energy just ooze to
You know,
everybody. Yeah.
that tells you are now coming to bleed on us, but we didn't cut you.
My goodness.
So in leadership, we have a crisis because we have people who think by giving me a name, their role, their societal status, which is mother, father, husband, whatever the case is, they have told me who they are. That's not who you are. Those
Yeah,
are the roles we
true.
play in society.
Yeah, that's true.
Who are you?
Who are you? I like that question. Who? Yeah. So I hear now we're discussing about the crisis in leadership. What is the solution? How do we get to the solution of really becoming the leader that we want to see, or becoming into a leadership that we want to pave way forward to even generations
Yeah.
to come?
I think that, like she has rightly said, we need first of all to start with ourselves.
Sure.
When that is settled, then we go to the next level.
Yeah.
The next level is the home. I think that is one aspect that we have neglected so much,
Yeah.
that we have become public successes and private failures.
My goodness.
We have failed at home, you know, and we are expecting institutions to raise our children. We're expecting institutions to teach our children values. I would want to see a day come when, hey, maybe we can talk about this another time.
No,
But
no, no. Please feel free to talk. We
I would
might
like
be
to
relevant
see a
right
day
now.
come when we can have an African young lady who is African and unfazed about it and unapologetic about it, yet she has a global appeal. That kind of combination.
I hear you.
Beautiful.
So that you can sit with anyone, anywhere in the world, and represent yourself, your continent, without worrying about, let the world buy, you know, without feeling small
Yeah,
about
sure.
who you are.
Yeah.
But I think all of that will have to start when we go back home and begin to work on our family structures. Because every nation, at the end of the day, stems out of a family.
Yeah.
And when that is not okay,
Yeah.
a whole lot of things become not okay. That's why we have people who are very brilliant and they are very good managers. I mean, the guy is good.
Sure.
But he's raping his 16-year-old niece.
My goodness.
How do you,
Yeah.
how do you,
Yeah. That to this.
yes, how do you understand that?
Yeah.
You know, they've got two faces. They are on TV. They are something that you want to be like.
The best.
But at the end of the day, the actual person who lives in that body, he's a mess.
Yeah.
He's a mess. He's got a big salary, big cars,
Yeah.
everything looks like he's got it.
Soft life.
But soft life. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, he's not fine. You can't reconcile the fact that this person is a successful manager and yet he's raping children at home and threatening them. If you talk about this to anyone, you'll be in big trouble.
And I ask myself, how do they manage to just put up this face out there? And then when they get home, they are monsters.
They're broken people.
And they're not self-aware.
Hey?
Once you become aware and conscious, you cannot become unaware and unconscious.
Yeah.
It's just, the light is always on. You can trip from time to time, but you can't become unaware.
You can't.
So they also need that to heal and become conscious and self-aware.
I like it. It's a good solution. I like that. They must just heal, find
Yeah,
themselves.
we must heal first for all of us. So for me,
Yeah.
it's twofold from a leadership perspective or from a corporate perspective, right?
Yeah.
We have to first transform the manner in which we think about ourselves, we feel about ourselves, and about others, and the context within which we find ourselves. So the approach that I use for that one is an inside out. So inside, deal with the mindset, the complexity of being a human being. I change my mind every day, my behavior shifts every day. That's very complex. Organizations like to say it's softer side of business. For me, it's the hard side of business to deal with human dynamics, you know. So if you can strengthen your intellectual ability to deal, and emotional intelligence to deal with that, you're good.
You're good.
Emotional wisdom.
Yeah.
There's a part of you that has answers that you also didn't know where they came from. You gotta lift that.
Yeah,
you know
that's true.
that side is brilliant. It has beautiful answers that can innovate, that can solve problems that we're encountering. That on the go, on the spot. You know, you need to raise it.
Yeah.
Spiritual awareness. Not talking about religion necessarily, but that part of you that sources from something beyond yourself when things don't go well.
Yeah.
Resilience, you find it there.
Yeah.
So we need to be acquainted with all of those things because we're in the 21st century.
Yeah.
So we are in this dynamic where we think we can just become like the next person. No, become you. The easiest person to be is you, but strengthen up. So the other part, second part is, in order for us to be organizational athletes or corporate athletes, right? Take care of your mental side of you, physical side of you, emotional and spiritual again. And you need to have rituals in order for you to be firm up on these things.
Sure, yeah.
Mental, gotta eat differently. You gotta train your mind, meditate, pray, do something to exercise
to
the
sustain
brain.
that,
Physical, of course, run, gym, do something.
Keep fit.
To strengthen, yes.
Sure.
Because when your body is fit, the mind is fit.
Yeah.
Spiritually, again, to go, it's a place where you get your resources from. That's where the emotional wisdom comes in.
Yeah.
So, because that bulb, you need it to always be on.
always be on.
To answer your question, some of the people that have multiple approaches, they don't have multiple personalities necessarily if they're not diagnosed like that.
Okay.
They just choose that in this context, I'm going to keep quiet. It's going to be safer for me in that context. Let me tell you, I'm this, whether I'm at home, at work, anywhere,
You're just
the result is the same.
Because there's only one you, right?
There's only one you. It's exhausting to be 20. That's why we then get into the mental illness issues because we are busy multiplying ourselves to things we're not.
Faking
And
it,
it,
baby.
and it messes up the system really,
That's
and
so
it makes
true.
you ill eventually.
Yeah, that's so true.
So we gotta heal so we
gotta
can
heal.
lead.
I like the solutions. I like the solution. Now, as leaders as you are, what are you doing in the little corner of yourself to change the narrative of leadership?
Okay, so for me, I do it in three ways, right? So one is coaching. Initially, it was just coaching women only, and it was only focused on self-awareness. So once you know who you are, there's a dilemma where people accept easy what they don't like about themselves. I'm ugly. My voice is not nice. They never accept I'm brilliant. Actually, I'm good with numbers. I sift this thing with my eyes closed. They never feel brilliant about that. So self-acceptance has to do with accepting your brilliance too and speaking about it so we know it, so we can buy it.
That I hear
Yes,
you.
I'm brilliant at this thing and I can do it with my eyes closed. We need to know that. That's self-acceptance. Self-management is self-regulation. When things don't go my way, how do I regulate myself? So that I still get the outcome I'm looking for. So that's the first 6 conversations I spend a lot of time in. And it's not nice because we go back to what made you like this? How were you socialized? Who did you learn this from? Who broke you here? What broke you here? And it's not easy. But once we deal with that stuff, then we're able to say, let me teach you now through coaching again how to access the smartness in another person.
Nice.
But you must first know yours and accept yours, then multiply the intelligence of others. Then you're leading other people at that point, or the organization itself.
You're doing via coaching.
Yes,
the little
via
corner.
coaching.
I love that.
So the same thing can happen via facilitation, which is workshops, right? So depending on how the organization wants to face it, can be coaching, can be workshops. Some things, but the content won't be the same, won't be exactly the same. Public speaking helps. You know, there are people that say, I listened to you and you said this, that unlocked my life. So I also do it that way. I'm now trying to get access to high schools. I just want to work with teenagers.
I like that.
If I was self-aware as a teenager, I would have been a brilliant soul right now.
You could have been far,
you know?
man. I hear
so
you.
I just want to go give back there and just start them from, I'm a standard person. I don't know what standard 8 is. What is standard 8?
Grade 10.
To metric. Grade 10.
Grade 10. Standard 8,
old.
yeah, it is grade 10.
So grade 10 to 12, if I can work with those ones, because again, we've abdicated our responsibility as parents. I speak to my son about emotions. He is allowed to be angry. He must just explain why he's angry so he understands what triggers him. So we speak about emotions, and I want to help children to understand both plus and the minus of emotions are good. They make you who you are, and then help them as they grow up.
I love that. I love that. What are you doing in your corner to become a better leader out there? To yourself and to other people. We are coming right up. Welcome back. Coach Ziyanda, you were saying something about your son and your emotions. Please just elaborate a little bit more.
So I was just making an example about how I teach my 8-year-old right now to embrace emotions. And I was saying, you know what, at the core of leadership is also emotions. You know, if you cannot handle your own emotions, expect that you're going to attract the same thing from others, you know. So what I teach him is to embrace anger as an example. So my view is that we are born plus and minuses. We've got good thoughts, bad thoughts, good emotions, bad emotions. With that combination.
Everything is
Positive and negative.
Yes, and we must not reject the negative. We must get acquainted with it, embrace it, know how to regulate it. So what I teach him is to say, are you angry? Yes, I'm angry. He must acknowledge that he is.
Okay.
Second, that is what made you angry. Then he'll explain what made him angry. Whether I think I'm right or wrong is irrelevant.
Okay.
I have to actually allow him to express himself.
Sure.
Because now he's getting to know his triggers, right? And then it will be, do you want to talk to me about it now? Or maybe I should leave you alone. Please leave me alone, mommy. And I leave him alone. And that's me trying to teach him this is how you handle anger. Once he's done and playing and forgotten that he was angry, I call him back. So let's talk about it. Because now he can articulate himself. He's much more calm.
Now he's more calmer.
Yes, so that coaching is similar. We help you understand what triggers you, what the core reasons why you get triggers, and how to regulate it, versus reacting like you're not feeling what you're feeling.
I don't want to get angry.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
So the same way when you are very excited and happy about something, right now you can't jump up this table, up and down. You regulate your happiness.
Yeah.
Even when I
Something
feel
similar to the negative emotion. If you feel irritated, you're gonna regulate yourself because you still want to make sense. Now you're an adult, so
you try
gotta
to
make
block
sense.
that.
Don't block it. and sometimes speak to it. Say, you know what you're saying kind of irritates me. I'm taking offense. And remember, offense is taken, it's not given. So I've taken offense, and here's why. Can you just work with me with this?
Yeah.
That's now you as a leader or you as a subordinate. You are allowed to do that provided you are emotionally aware.
I like it. I like it. And how to deal with it afterwards. I like that.
That's just profound. I think many more people need to hear things like that because many people are trapped. We are living in a world now where you can't really express yourself, and you must always be this person who should not get angry, especially that's just too negative. When you talk about we are born with plus and minus, immediately I looked at that light there. I thought that wouldn't be there if there wasn't positive and negative.
Beautiful.
You know, and if we are able to harness that, if it's not properly done, it will shock you. But if it's properly harnessed, then you have the beautiful light that we are having. And I think that if we can be able to harness our pluses and our negatives, our pluses and our minuses, then we should be able to. I'm not an expert in this, but I like what you're talking about. I like what you're saying, and I think that most of us need to be able to understand that. Now, coming to the question that you asked earlier on. Regarding what we are doing
in your corner,
Yes. A corner feels like it's limiting me when you say in my
what
corner.
Are you doing?
But I understand. But I understand where you're coming from. I understand what you're talking about because the world is big. So where I am. Earlier on, I said when I came out of that conversation that I had with those gentlemen, I said I am the antidote. I want to live my life in such a way that I provide some kind of solution. And when I've looked at the leadership on the continent of Africa, the truth is that all these leaders, they don't fall from heaven. They come from among us. These people come from among us and they are a reflection of who we are. They behave like that because they come from the same townships, from the same places where we come from. So I thought to myself, what I need to do is do something on the ground. Because once somebody is 85 years old and he's still a president of a country, you can't change his mind. You won't change him. You won't change the man. You know, so the best thing to do is to change tomorrow, today, and start changing the mindsets of the people on the ground, ordinary young citizens. Begin to change their mindsets, because if their mindsets are not changed, they will end up perpetuating the same attitudes, the same things that we are seeing that are actually destroying our lives. So let us begin to do something about the young generation. And for me, I felt media is one very powerful tool. And it has been used negatively, of course, to destroy how we see ourselves, how we perceive ourselves. Africa needs a lot of rebranding, a lot of imaging. Africa needs a lot of change. And that change must happen at a mental level. And I think you guys understand this even
Mindset
better.
coach, yeah.
We need to do a lot to change the mind of an African. And when that has been done, it will naturally change the mindsets of the people that are stereotyped outside Africa, who see us in a certain way. In some of these countries, when you go there, they see your passport and they know you're coming from Africa. There's just this attitude that people have about you, you know.
How sad.
And yet we have everything here.
Yeah.
We have everything. We are enough, actually, by ourselves. But then we need a lot of change. So for me, I have felt information dissemination is critical. We need to bombard the minds of our people consistently with information that is going to change the way they think about themselves and the way they see the world out there, the way they think about finance, about ownership. This whole nonsense of half a loaf is better than no loaf. I hate that stuff.
Tell me more.
I don't like it. Africans don't need that anymore. We've been taught that from home. Oh, you should learn to appreciate. And we use that to say learn to appreciate. Half a loaf is better than no loaf.
Young.
We don't need a half a loaf. We need an entire loaf. In fact, we need to the mechanism to create these loaves. We need to be able to decide how many loaves we are going to make. You know, so we lock ourselves away from ownership. We lock ourselves away from owning what is rightfully ours. We've got the capacity. We've got the ability to create and to generate everything that we can, that we need to become. You know, so that change must begin to take place, and must take place at the grassroots. Because tomorrow's leaders will come from the grassroots. They will come from among the very people that we are targeting.
That's true.
So if we can target the people on the ground, then tomorrow's leaders are already taken care of.
I think,
Beautiful.
we are where we are because of the wiring of our minds. The influence of media, the influence of education system. Are we not reproducing ourselves all over again because the content seems similar to our wiring? How are we then changing the mindset of African people?
So I think I concur exactly with what you're saying. For us to change all of that, to shift inner, or rather we need to shift inner to shift outer, right? So inner from an individual perspective to shift the new look in terms of leaders of Africa. To shift Africa internally in order for the world to see us differently. It can happen the other way around, you know? And it takes people who have content like me and you availing themselves into the very same media that people are consuming. But people like us are like, yes, TV, cameras.
It's intimidating. I mean, look at I'm trying to understand why we have 4 cameras here.
You know, but I read on social media, I watch TV, I'm like, but this is not stuff that we're supposed to be consuming. It actually makes us feel more inadequate. So the content, there's few people who seem to be successful. And then you as the coach, you look at you like, no, this person needs work. But then there's 5 million followers.
And you ask
so now there are 5 million people who are following that look and feel. And
what is the substance in that?
So we fail our people, me and you from that experience, because we are not wanting to avail ourselves and teach. And my clients have been saying, please write a book, please have a YouTube channel. I'm like, oh guys, but that's what we need to do. We need to bombard them, to borrow from your words, bombard them with a good, transformative, healing content. That's what we're supposed to do, to shift the mind.
And I feel like the society, it doesn't like substance, it doesn't like good content. They are all about something that is trendy. They're all about nice stuff. And you ask yourself, what do they get from this? Nothing. Like, I can go laugh on Facebook, I might get maybe 5 likes, whatever. But somebody without a content, without substance, but just, I don't know, why is the society just like this?
So in my view, society loves, our society loves groupthink. I dislike groupthink. Everybody does it, therefore we just do it because we're told to do it, and we never ask questions about it, we just follow it. So we want to look alike, we want to be the same. And we don't understand the power of our success rests in the uniqueness that we are. Only when we show up in our unique abilities will we feed from one another. I don't understand what we get from similarities. So once we start to push to push the
uniqueness,
traditions, to
yeah.
push the boundaries,
Yeah.
and create new
Yeah.
ways of living, new norms and values.
Sure.
Because we're in the 21st century, we're supposed to be. We are the adults now.
Yeah.
We are the older generation
No, we're
now.
the one.
That's true.
So we're supposed to recreate and create new norms and values. It starts with dismantling patriarchy, and patriarchy from women, not even from men.
Yeah.
Women champion patriarchy.
Yeah.
We need to look ourselves differently in terms of that. And we need to rewire, rethink, and recraft this whole thing. But it starts with the mind again.
Yeah.
So we have to bombard them with the information.
Keep
first.
feeding and feeding and
And the
feeding.
ones that are not into the group thing like us
Yeah.
have got to speak up because it's few of us.
So it doesn't help by keeping quiet.
Yeah, we have to speak up because we're the minority.
So we must speak up and continue speaking up because it will take a long time before the rest of the masses begin to adjust to that kind of thinking.
exactly. Yeah.
It's not easy. It's like you're breaking boundaries. You are going out there
Into
where
other
no one
territory.
is, and,
Yeah.
and it's not just easy for people to understand that and even accept it because they haven't seen it. You know. So when you say why people don't like substance, it's because of the wiring of the minds. Like she's saying, groupthink.
Yeah.
People feel comfortable in groups. They feel comfortable in spaces where everybody is.
It's a trend.
Yes,
Everybody's
that's what
into
is
this.
that's what is
Therefore,
do, that's what is
It's
happening.
in simple
Yes.
things. Just learn to embrace our differences. Through them, we co-create magic, you know?
yeah.
But until then, we have got to unlock the minds of the people who are in the group think. We've got to say it's okay to think differently. I was just saying as an example, I was wearing heels with a track pant
Yeah.
and a blazer.
Yeah.
I was going to a meeting. I felt fine.
Yeah.
And I thought I was hot.
Yes.
I was different
Something
for
different,
sure.
yeah,
But I was hot.
definitely, yeah.
And somebody says, if it wasn't for this track pant, you would look nice. I said, because
Then you-
people
okay.
who are walking in here
They're
as
so used
females
to
have to have
just-
straight cuts and tight dresses. And because I'm now
you
a
can't
bit
just be
loose.
unique.
You see, I don't do well with groupthink.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
It's
doesn't help
very,
us
it's
grow.
very limiting.
Yeah.
It's not progressive.
Yeah.
Groupthink is not progressive.
Yeah.
It doesn't take anyone anywhere. I think we need to break from that. What I take away from you, besides a whole lot of other things, is that it's okay to be different. It's okay. We just have to embrace being different.
Yeah, our
And
uniqueness.
Even
Yes.
if you have 5 likes, it's okay.
Yes.
There's just always a way that people one day will say, she was right.
Yes.
And they'll remember even 10 years from now.
get
They'll
you.
still remember what you say. She was right.
And they would have never clicked the like.
Yes.
They would have thought it and
yes.
retained it.
Absolutely. I usually think about Steve Biko, the time that he wrote the books that he wrote.
Yeah.
And you wonder what the people at that time were thinking. And most of the stuff that man wrote at that time or spoke
foresight.
about, it's like he lived beyond his time.
Yes.
In fact, that's what leadership is, really. It is to live beyond your time, to be out there. You are leading because you are a trailblazer.
Sure.
You know, so he lived beyond his time. Most of the actual leaders that we have seen that have led generations, they lived beyond their time. That's why what they talked about, what they wrote about, is still relevant today.
Today, yeah.
So you can read a book from many years ago. It still is applicable to you
Visionaries,
today. Yes,
I get back
you
to
know.
that.
So it's not like these songs that we have today that have no essence. Somebody sings a song, but before the end of the week, 2 other songs have come up. It's already
That is
replaced.
what, yeah.
It's out of the shelf, you know, because it didn't have substance.
Yeah.
But there are some songs, you know, some songs like Lady in Red.
Even
Yeah.
till this
She's,
day.
Yeah.
she's dancing
It's still
with me.
relevant.
Relevant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
It
think
is
for
still
me,
relevant,
From
yeah.
my last point from me about being different,
Yeah.
I think for me the challenge is accepting your difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you can embrace the things that make you unique
Different,
and stop
yeah.
speaking negatively
About
about them.
Sure.
So my example is that my voice was never liked growing up. I was told you sound like a man, you sound like a boy,
Sure.
I don't know what your voice
Yeah.
is, la la. And that landed me in disliking my own voice.
Hating your voice, yeah.
But it was in embracing and loving it that I found its work.
I love it.
And the
it's-
world
and you've
adjusted.
got a beautiful voice.
You see?
You've got a beautiful
And
voice.
when you say that, I internally receive
take
it. I'm
it,
not
yeah.
acting like I am because now I've embraced it. So we have no business wanting the world to accept us when we
If
can't
we
accept
can't.
ourselves.
Oh,
first.
I love that. I love it. I love it. Guys, where do we get hold of you? Where do we get hold of you?
All right. You can get hold of me on all social
Media?
platforms as Henry Mwale.
Yeah.
On Instagram, I am Henry Mwale _. On Twitter, I'm Henry Mwale __. And you can also get me on 084-917-4070.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So
Kwezi?
for me, for you to see what I do, the workshops I give to corporates and so on, www.ziandam.co.za.
Yeah.
Social media, Zianda Mazamisa, Facebook, Zianda M Facebook, Instagram, Zianda Mazamisa, in LinkedIn, Zianda Mazamisa.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for being here, leaders.
Thank you.
Guys, viewers out there, I hope you guys, we can unleash the leader that is in you. They have said it all. They have given you all the tips. It is now up to you how you lead yourself from here and going forward. On that note, I'll see you guys next time.